This is a very interesting video, to say the least. I'm going to do it in a short amount of time, but I want you to think about this. This is really, really, really incredible. A gentleman named Sean. Okay, Sean Waters. He's a producer. He's a great guy. He's became a great friend through YouTube. He brought this to my attention. He said, "You remember the Q-Clone plugin?" He goes, "Now I'm thinking about something, Doug. There's something to be said about that Q-Clone plugin. What's really cool about it is you can actually use hardware. You can capture the curve of the hardware, and it's like we're thinking, is it actually worth it?" And today I have learned it is worth it. I took three different sources. One is an SSL EQ and a dynamic module. This is basically the E series. It has a G series curve. You can flip between the two. It was made for the X rack. It's a 2-channel EQ. It's one of my favorites in my rack. I love using it. I love using it when somebody sends me multiple stems, multiple mixing things. And I started to think, well, in the day and age of plugins, how do you prove this to be true? Is the hardware actually doing something that I like better? Now, I am taking a plugin from the same exact company, and we're using the Q-Clone from Waves to see the difference, okay? We're musicians, okay? We're producers, we're artists, we're engineers. We're all creative people. This is what we do this for. And there's something to be said about something that makes something sound musical. The term musical, I believe, means very, very natural. It sounds like it was meant to be there. When I boost 5K, it sounds like the snap of the snare comes forward, or the kick, or the mallet of the kick drum, or whatever we're trying to get to. So what makes an EQ what it is? Now, the Q-Clone capture plugin from Waves is really cool. What Sean asked me to do, he goes, "Hey Doug, I was thinking about this. If you actually capture the transmission, so you got to know how the Q-Clone actually works. So there's a send and a receive going on with this Q-Clone plugin. What Sean said is, Doug, you could actually capture the transmission, which is this little blip sound. I don't want to play it through the speakers because it's really annoying. But if you've ever heard a pulse, whether you do a room acoustics, even in that REW software, there's this blip that comes out. If you have monitors that came with like room correction software, they send this blip tone. So what this plugin does is it sends that same blip tone, which is, I think, it's like all the frequencies in a short amount of time. It's captured. It's a test signal, pretty much. And what happens is it sends that test signal. So the way that the Q-Clone works is it sends that test signal to your hardware as you tweak your hardware. So if you tweak the plugin, if you tweak the hardware's like low mid, it'll change that transmission, and then it'll capture it here on the Q-Clone capture, and it actually captures the curves of how that piece of hardware works, which is insanely incredible. Now, with that being said, what Sean pretty much told me to do, which is pretty ingenious, and thanks Sean, is just to capture the transmission. So I go out of the transmission, it comes back here, and when I push play on screen, it receives it. Okay, so now I can use plugins to check out. So what we're doing in this video, if you really want to know the truth about some of your faves, your favorite plugs, we're using a plugin from the very company that designed the hardware. So this isn't like a which one's better. I mean, the same company did the same thing, so there's not really a shootout involved in that. But this is an interesting thing, and it's something for you guys to think about if you're getting into plugins, you're debating if I should buy hardware. So this is a really interesting thing. Can you replace hardware? Now, with that being said, this is a piece of software capturing this hardware, and it makes you wonder. So they have the technology to capture this, but why can't they put it in a plugin? So that's something else to think about. So here's the first one we want to talk about. The first one is this, the Duende. So what you're going to see, I'm going to take off my hardware, and I'm going to start to tweak this plugin. Now there's something that by the end of this video that I'm going to make note of that you might think is really crazy. So as I push play on this, you're going to hear, and you're going to see in the capture the way that this plugin works is really crazy. So watch this. So first and foremost, I can already see we have that on. So let me get to the part where it's playing. As we move. Don't call me. Every video somebody calls me. Watch this. Cool sound, right? 5K. Let's get some 5K. Starts to jag it out a little bit. Interesting, right? Let's try this. Let's try this piece of hardware here. Let's really jam this thing. Let's really push it. Let's get rid of some of this. Plug in. Okay, what I'm saying is this one to me sounds light years more musical. I'm sitting here going. So now take it from the perspective of what I just did. I just went in, started tweaking knobs, trying to get the best result. Change this, change that, tweak this. This one gave me a good result. Let's do it again from the start. Okay, this is what's really interesting about engineering. Sometimes I believe that the equipment and the engineers behind the equipment inspires the art. So now watch this. Nothing on. Let's go from the beginning again. Get rid of some of that. All right, back to this one. Let's try this. Same kind of thing. I'll start tweaking. So much more musical. It's insane. Okay, so it's very similar the way that I was tweaking. So I was moving this, I was diming it out. Pretty much what I mean diming out is 10ing it, or 11 or whatever. But no, when somebody says, "Man, it's such a musical EQ," I mean, is that what we're really talking about there? Is that frequency response and the way the curves are moving and all that stuff? Or you can't make that EQ sound bad. Was it designed so you can't make it sound bad? That's stuff you got to think about. That plugin, I can make sound bad. Now, that's from the same company, so I'm giving it a fair assessment. This is not me saying, oh, well, this company does it better or that company does it better. This is the same company. Is it just not capable to reproduce in a plugin? So this is something to think about, why we're doing this video. Now, listen to this. So let's do something very similar. Okay, let me do the same exact thing to end this video. Same exact settings on this EQ. So this would be, okay, this would be set here. This is a shelf on this one. This doesn't have a bell. Let's boost it at 3K. Same exact settings we're going to do, or close to it as much as we can. And we're going to boost this one. Let's really boost it. See what we can do. And let's boost that at 8. I don't know what this sounds like. This is just for test purposes. All right, guys? This might sound absolutely horrible. I'm just doing this for a test. So this one's boosted up. Let's do this low mid. Let's cut the low mid. Most of the time this is like a hip-hop sound. You cut the low mid around 250. Let's do the same thing here. Let me see where 250 is. It's right about there. Okay. So we're gonna hit play on this. Watch your ears. It might be horrible. I don't know. Let's turn this down. hardware. Hardware. Once again, the hardware sounded better, and I'm going to tell you why. When I'm listening in this room's insanely flat. And I don't know if you're going to hear that on the video. I don't even know if I'm capturing 1 and 2. You're hearing it from my speakers. It's not about the sound. It's about the actual understanding of, is that really why that thing sounds better? So if you're looking at the Q clone, the low sub stuff and the top 5K was like perfectly balanced with me with the same setting. On this one, it wasn't. And this is the same exact setting. I mean, maybe I could try to boost this a little more to compensate. Let's do that just to be fair to the plugin. I mean, I got to boost it all the way up. If I boost the SSL all the way up, watch what happens. It's crazy. Same thing, boosted all the way up. So what I'm getting at is this to me sounds more balanced. It sounds more gradual. It sounds more natural. It has a more musical. When somebody says, man, that's musical, dude, that has that. What's really incredible is this. With my workflow, if I bought one SSL EQ outside the box like this and I use that Q clone, I could capture that across the whole entire session. And that's what Sean and myself is, just another tool in the toolbox. So with that being said, it really does change the way we work. It's like, wow, dude, you can get these curves and you can change that. That is what's really interesting to me. Now, when you shoot it out against the plugins, it seems like I'm fighting the plugin to get it to do what that is doing. Now, with that being said, I want to end the video like this because this is the only fair way I can do this. This is the only fair way. Instead of capturing the Q clone, let's see if this actual plugin here that we're talking about, if I put it just on the kick drum track, okay? So we'll put it right on the kick drum track, and then we'll go back and forth. So it's not capturing it on the Q clone. It's just playing as a plugin. So now the whole thing's going to change because now it's adding the harmonics. It's adding all the things that this thing's replicating that SSL's doing. In all fairness to the SSL, though, we are actually capturing this. You're not hearing the SSL EQ. You're hearing the Q clone. So when I push play on this, let's see what happens. I hope it doesn't like dime out and distort the way I have it set. No, it's fine. Sounds better. Now let's hear this. More. I'm still hearing this tennis ball sounding sound on this plugin, and it's the same setting. So this was the last attempt, okay? This is me trying my best. So as a creative person, okay, as a person that is creative, if I had to choose, and this is my assessment, and I'm being so honest with you guys, if my assessment was I am taking on a client's project and I'm doing everything I can to tweak that project to get it to the best place it can possibly be, this EQ and the hardware with the Q clone is beating these plugins. Nothing against Brainworks. Incredible, incredible, incredible company. They make some insanely awesome plugins. One that I use daily on sessions. There's multiple that I do. Now, the other thing is why I said I did it with this plugin is because this is the same company that built it. The thing that we want to debate here is I've done shootouts, okay? And I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair to shoot out a plugin versus a piece of hardware. Now, here is the debate, and I would love to hear your comments below. Is it the actual way that the hardware is able to reproduce that, the curves and the way that it was designed, or is it just not possible in the box? Can it not do what we're doing? That's the debate. Or is there a plugin company out there that can actually reproduce the curve the way the Q-Clone's able to capture it? That is the debate. This EQ sounds more musical. It's funner to use. Your results are, that never sounds bad. You know, it's like, oh, that never sounds bad. That sounds incredible. Anything you do, it sounds good. So what is that? So that was the debate, and I would love to hear your opinion on this video. I really would, because you know, somebody out there might know a lot more than I do about this, but I'm talking from a creative aspect more than I am a technical aspect. And when I push this EQ, I get what I want. When I was pushing this EQ similar, I wasn't really getting what I want. Not saying that it's not useful. And then to end this, and shout out to Sean, but how if you use them in conjunction with one another? Now, what does that do? And that could be for a whole new video. So my name's Doug Jenkins, iMixandMaster.com. If you haven't checked the Q-Clone out, check it out. If this video was cool, man, share it, subscribe. We're getting back in it, I told you. But yeah, this is a very interesting concept. 3 different sources, 2 plugins modeling this, but then the actual hardware in the X-Rack, and then you can go to a vintage one and see the difference there. But very interesting. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys, you know, get something out of it. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye.